All right, okay. Hey, everyone. Anthony Fantano here, the scruffiest music nerd, and it's time for a weekly track roundup where I give my thoughts on a bunch of songs that have dropped over the past week or so. I'm a little late on this one, but it's still here. It's still happening. It's still occurring. Yes, my feelings on these songs, regardless of whether I loved them or hated them, they are all linked down below along with our Turntable Lab link. We get kickback from that. If you go over there and buy some vinyl, some turntable stuff, some sound equipment, whatever it is, we get kickback from it. Try it out. Our Patreon page too. You know what that's all about. Get some extra bonus monthly content while supporting us in the process. That would be nice. And our YouTube Shorts page as well. Got a lot of good stuff over there too. Check it out, check it out, check it out. Stuff over there too. Also, we have a shout out from Austin, who has given us this record from YYO2, Bloodz Boi. Tainted Artist is the name of the project. She says that it's a short and sweet 5-track mixtape by Chinese artist Bloodz Boi. Plug music that's got kind of a dark rap era James Ferraro vibe. So if that tickles your fancy, try it out. All right, worst tracks of the week. We have a handful of those. They are as follows. Bam, this new one from Metro Boomin. It's a remix of the fantastic Creepin', which is essentially a cover from his latest LP. And yeah, now it's got like Diddy on it, and now it's just like really bloated and drags on forever. And I just feel like the addition of Diddy just kind of ruins the whole thing. The wind has been taken out of this cover sales, sadly. The cover off the record that he just dropped that version was just way better. Way better version. Much superior version. This is the bleh. All right, moving on from there. We have this new one from Melanie Martinez, who I guess is undergoing a bit of an artistic evolution over here with this new album cycle. This song has vocals that are manipulated to high heaven and sound annoying as hell. The tune isn't really standout either, but the instrumental is very glitzy and just kind of throws a lot of bells and whistles in your face to sort of make up for the lack of a compelling song, I suppose, at the end of the day. Ugh. We also have a new one from Louis Capaldi, whose instrumentation is bland per usual. Melodies are meh, per usual. I just don't really get the Capaldi craze, I guess. I just find his tunes to just be so one-dimensional at the end of the day, sonically and in terms of what he's putting into them too. So, and yeah, the name of the track is How I'm Feeling Now. And we have a new one from Black over here, Fatal Attraction. I've dug some of his tracks here and there, but I've not really been enjoying anything in the lead up in this new album cycle. And this song especially is like the blandest and most understated of the bunch. There's really nothing memorable about it. Again, Fatal Attraction is the name of the track. And just really not catching the flavor, the passion, the anything on this new track. It's just a little too underdone, in my opinion. Let's have the songs now that I'm kind of on the fence with, but still thought they were worth a shout out. They are as follows. New one from Unknown Mortal Orchestra, whose 5 record over here is out now. Not going to kind of belabor my thoughts on this track Meshuggah because I may end up reviewing the record, but I think kind of the lo-fi production gets in the way of the song's full potential. But that's just me. I don't know. Try it out. Dig on it for yourself. It's groovy. It's a little trippy. We have a new one from T-Pain over here. On top of the covers, new project out now. It's nothing but cover songs. But definitely want to point you guys toward the cover of War Pigs on here. Now, I will say, I feel like for a song that's obviously trying to cover a metal track, it's missing a little punch. But the keys go off, and T-Pain vocally absolutely positively kills it. I just think, again, it's missing a bit of instrumental bite, in my view. We also have this new one over here from Tkay Maidza with Snakehips, Show Me the Money. It's just kind of an okay piece of dance pop about, making money, being successful, so on and so forth. A little generic for TK, honestly, but maybe a song that is maybe a little more lowest common denominator will appeal more widely for her. Who knows? We'll see. It just kind of seems like a one-off single. We also have a new one from Taylor Swift over here, who is seeing the release of a handful of songs, but most notably this one over here that is an unreleased one from the Lover era. All the Girls You Loved Before, which I think is pretty snappy, has some awesome vocal arrangements in it, but I thought the lyrics were kind of weird and were just about how this guy who she loves is basically the person who he is because of all the women who he was with before him, which is just like a really weird way to see somebody. Like, I don't see people I'm dating as like the culmination of everyone they've dated up until that point. What if you meet somebody who's great and they haven't dated anybody? Like, it's, it's kind of weird just to see people through a lens of like all their exes. But considering how much X's are a point of inspiration for Taylor, I guess you can't be surprised with that point of view. We have also a new one from Squid Pisser over here from their upcoming project, My Tadpole Legion. Their music has been raging across the internet as they have been kind of dripping out tracks here and there. This one over here is a Crucifix cover of the song Marching for Trash, featuring vocals from DeWilde of Starcrawler, which are pretty out there. The vocals are odd. I mean, the vocals on the original track are very weird and very irreverent and silly and I guess eccentric. And, I think Squid Pisser kind of pushes that element of the song the most in this cover. For the most part, the riffs and the drums aren't embellished upon too much outside of being heavier and maybe a little bit more aggressive. I think on the vocal side, they get a bit more insane, but maybe to the track's detriment as well, because I did find parts of the track to be grating, not in the best way, but give it a try. It's certainly out there. We have a new one over here also from Jesus Piece. Silver Lining is the track. I'm not going to say it's the most memorable piece of metalcore I've ever seen, but it is heavy and brutal as hell. I can certainly give it that. We also have a new one over here from Fivio Foreign and Eladio Carrión. And it's, just kind of some bilingual drill that's just merely okay. I just think it's okay. Kind of standard for the genre. Not terrible, not great either, but, cool to see a crossover, I suppose. We have one over here from Doechii, who's writing a surprisingly, I guess, formulaic track over here. I mean, I guess in a way I could kind of see what she's going for, because it does feel like a nice little romantic 2000s rap R&B crossover in a way. Kodak Black is on the track. If you listen to the lyrics, you kind of get the angle of the song quickly enough. And while I think she kind of checks all the boxes of that vibe of a song that would have given us the same story from that era, she doesn't really put an interesting or unique or personal spin on it. Though Doechii's singing performance on this track is good. I don't deny that for sure. But yeah, it just kind of seems like, I don't know, a little predictable for her. I'll say that. We have a new one over here from Chromeo, Words With You is the title of this one. And it's a cute little track about, hearing rumors and wanting to talk it out and so on and so forth. It's a smooth piece of synth funk with some really bright production. Maybe a little run-of-the-mill for Chromeo, frankly. Not one of their catchiest songs I've heard in my life. I think it's a little maybe wordy to be, I guess, hard-hitting, but it is sweet to the ear. I'll say that. And Chemical Brothers over here have a new one out, No Reason, and it's a funky piece of house that on the back end has like some acid house bass lines that aren't too bad. That's actually probably the most interesting section of the entire track, because everything up until that point, frankly, in terms of instrumentation, grooves, so on and so forth, is a little bland, especially for Chemical Brothers, who have been known for having such a big sound for so many years. All right, best tracks of the week. We have a handful of those. Want to shout those out, of course. We have a new one from Yves Tumor, whose new album is out now. I'm not going to talk too much about this track over here, Parody, but I do think it is a cool, eerie piece of psych and rock. Give it a listen. Give it a taste. I think it's really good. We have a new one over here from Fred Again, with Fortet and Skrillex in the mix too. Some cool, electronic and EDM crossovers as of late with some of these fellows. And this one over here has a really prominent little baby sample. It's got some great grooves on it, really hypnotic, really groovy. It's got kind of those, usual bass line kind of Fred Again characteristics, but I think Fortet and Skrillex add some nice flavors into the whole vibe and everything, especially, some of those bigger, boomier kind of, EDM flavors come from the Skrill guy. But yeah, it's a cool little track. I'm liking this one. We also have the Lemon Twigs, In My Head. This is a great single. Really great songwriting on this one. It's vintage as hell. It's fun. It's catchy. It's got pizzazz. It's got pizzazz. I don't often use that word. It's got some pizzazz to it. Listen for yourself and see. We also have Lana Del Rey over here. This new track, The Grants, is a multiple phased one with a cool vocal intro, in my opinion. And then it goes on to some really cool vocal, not vocal, but piano passages, and Lana herself gives a great vocal performance, by Lana standards, I'll say. I'm finding a lot of the singles from this new cycle to be really compelling. And, I'm thinking this is going to be a banger record from Lana, from everything I'm hearing so far. Fingers crossed. We also have one over here from Isabella Lovestory, who I'm just hearing about now with this single. Kind of an empowerment anthem on this one, Latina. Obviously, given the title and the lyrical content, you could probably guess the musical direction, but the instrumentation and the vocals are actually quite wild and eccentric, and not really, kind of playing into anything, I think, too run-of-the-mill or desperate to be widely appealing or anything like that. It doesn't sound super commercial or anything. It just kind of sounds like really rustic, really rootsy, really, kind of again, I'll say wild and free. I'll use to describe this track. It's a badass, again, a self-empowerment, self-affirming little bop. And Incendiary, who I also want to shout out over here. Man, this one's got like some old school metalcore vibes on it. And also like the really shouty, almost like, borderline kind of like, rapped vocals on this track too. The really cool riff breaks and some of the leads too. It's got a lot of memorable passages to it, honestly. I'm looking forward to hearing more from this band, because they're really kind of putting a new twist on an older sound of hardcore that I'm liking a lot. We also have a Feist over here. I think this is my favorite single so far from this cycle that she's been going through, Borrow Trouble. It's got almost like some kind of very heavily layered and trippy kind of like glammy qualities about it. I'll say that. It's got almost like some Bowie energy coming off of it at points in the instrumental, and I think the vocal performance is great as well. Really liking this one from Feist. And that has been the weekly track roundup. Hopefully you guys got some good recommendations out of this one. You're the best. Mwah. Love you. Over here next to my head is another video you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one. Anthony Fantano, weekly tracks forever.